This is a production of Florida State University.
Welcome to this April edition of FSU Headlines. I'm your host, Mark Vaughn. It was an opportunity for the Florida State University community to show school pride and celebrate its success. The 2021 FSU Day at the Capitol showcased university achievements and more in a virtual celebration.
Every day is a great day to be a Florida State Seminole, but I especially love FSU Day at the Capitol.
FSU Day at the Capitol was recognized by Florida Representative Dan Daly. The FSU alumnus gave a special shout out to the event on the floor of the Florida House of Representatives.
Florida State University, a preeminent Florida university which is widely recognized for its long-standing commitment to excellence in education and stature as one of the top research and graduate education institutions in the United States.
In our next headline, Florida State University College of Medicine students meet their match in a time-honored tradition, this time in a virtual format. Few events have more impact in the life of a medical student than Match Day. It's an annual rite of passage for aspiring physicians as they open envelopes to find out where they'll be headed for residency training. But for the past 2 years, graduating medical students at Florida State have received this news virtually due to the pandemic.
And once again, they have to prove themselves. They have to identify that they are the best place, they're the best match for a program that they're hopefully interested in and all the specialties that they want to go into. And they have to prove themselves once again. So it is a stressful time. What I miss the most about Match Day and not doing it in person is just all the joy, the families, the tears, the shouts, the hugs, all the things that take place in the audience as they open up their envelope and find out where they're going for the next 3 to 5 years of their lives.
It started when a group of electrical engineering students at Florida State University, Panama City, wanted to reimagine the guitar pedal. Now that idea has earned the student entrepreneurs the first place prize at the 2021 Innovation Challenge.
We're very excited. This is the 4th time that we're hosting the Innovation Challenge here in the Jim Moran building. Innovation Challenge has been going on for 9 years, and it's our major competition. They compete, they pitch, and they practice. And we have 2 prior elimination rounds before this. So we have a big group, and every time, some of the finalists now were in previous competitions that they didn't make it that far. So there's an opportunity to learn and come back.
I would say we've definitely learned how to better pitch our idea. Pitching is super important in regards to starting a company and just conveying your idea to people. So the process of going through the semifinals, the finals, and practicing beforehand, it really showed us what we need to hone in on and focus, and kind of the scalability. We want to emphasize that. We were super excited. We put together a panel of judges we've been practicing over the past week. We modified our original presentation. We got a lot of feedback. So knowing that the hard work paid off, it felt amazing. It was super exciting. It's the first time we've done this, we're super stoked.
It's fabulous. It's so encouraging, and I hope a lot of students are watching. Usually this room is filled with students and faculty and community people that are just excited to see the creativeness and innovativeness and the hard work that our students are doing. And to see them go and take their businesses further is very inspiring, and it's why we do what we do. Jim Moran would be very proud, and that's one of the reasons why our school and now our college has been built up to be able to really encourage entrepreneurs. Jim Moran was an icon in the small business area who grew to be a billionaire, and yet had a humble heart and beginning, and through hard work and perseverance was successful. And we hope that our values of our faculty and our college will continue in that spirit.
Well, recently, Florida State University awarded an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters degree to FSU alumnus and insurance industry trailblazer Bill Holt. FSU President John Thrasher presided over the small ceremony held at the President's house. Watch this.
Well, welcome everybody to this incredible ceremony that we're about to have. Please be seated. I'm President John Thrasher, and I want to welcome you all to this honorary degree ceremony, which recognizes the significant contributions of Dr. William T. Holt to Florida State University.
The conferring of an honorary degree is an honor that Florida State University does not bestow lightly. Only 131 have been granted since the university's founding 170 years ago. Today we are conferring a Doctor of Humane Letters degree to Mr. William T. Holt.
The Florida State University Board of Trustees, I, John Thrasher, hereby confer upon you William T. Holt the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
You know, as we and others reflect upon our lives and other people look at what we did, we're not going to be judged by our accumulated wealth. The question is, have we ever made a difference in anybody's life? And you folks not only have made a difference in my life, but you've changed my life. So thank you all very much. Thank you.
Coming up next on FSU Headlines, a group of marine biologists uncover surprising insights into how coral species survive coral bleaching. We'll show you how this research may mean good news for the future of coral reefs.
At Florida State University, we're proving that students from all walks of life can achieve at the highest levels. We're proving that intellect, creativity, service, and daring matter. We're proving the next generation can do more than dream of a better world. They can make it happen. We are Florida State University.
When you buy a Florida State University license plate,
you're not just showing your school spirit.
You're supporting students like us.
In the lab,
in the classroom,
and in the library.
Putting this tag on your vehicle helps Florida State students achieve their dreams. So show your pride. Purchase an FSU license plate today.
Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Mark Vaughn. A new agreement is set to boost industry partnerships at Florida State. The Tallahassee-based Magcorp and the National High Magnetic Field Laboratory have inked a 5-year agreement to help market science to private industries.
This is a new and exciting era for the Magnet Lab. We've always had some of our research that has been translated into the private sector, into industry, but this is, with the launch of Magcorp, an opportunity to have a company that's not part of the Magnet Lab, it's separate from the Magnet Lab, but a big part of their business model is to be aware of what's happening at the Magnet Lab, and then also to be aware of what's out there in the private sector that could benefit from what it is that we do at the Magnet Lab. It means that Magcorp will occasionally contact folks at the Magnet Lab and say, we've got a company and they're interested in XYZ. Do you think that it would get some traction at the Magnet Lab? Who should we talk to? You know, a lot of times you have a great idea in the laboratory, but you have no idea what's out there in the private sector and in the economy. And Magcorp can do the legwork to go find the potential partner. We think this will be one of the ways to show how dynamic we are in yet another direction. And for us, as a part of an educational institution like Florida State University, we see it as a way that our students, undergraduates, graduate students, or our postdocs can see alternative career paths. You know, the majority of folks that get advanced degrees don't become professors. They go out into the economy. So any bridges we can build give students at all levels an opportunity to go and see where those opportunities might lie. We fundamentally at the Magnet Lab know that our research is paid for by the taxpayers. And we very much want to be able to demonstrate in every way we can that we're worth every penny and then some. And to be able to tell exciting research stories and things that might someday impact someone's life, that's one thing. But to be able to actually point to specific economic activities, specific new products, would be another thing altogether. And that's what I see as the opportunity here with Magcorp.
Certain brightly colored coral species may look nearly identical to many divers and snorkelers, but Florida State University researchers have found that coral species can respond very differently to ocean warming. These findings may have crucial implications for the long-term health of coral reefs. Watch this.
For us, it's not necessarily that the differences among species are interesting. It's that much of what we understand about the dynamics of coral reef systems is based on this grouping corals based on what they look like. And by taking the time to do the genetics and identify what they are, we're seeing a lot of so-called cryptic diversity and cryptic patterns that we hadn't really appreciated before. And so this cryptic diversity is changing the way we study and understand how this group of corals work. So Moorea is an island next to the island of Tahiti in the country of French Polynesia. And there's been a long history of researchers working there, so there is a lot of history and a lot of prior data collected that provides really important context for what we see and study now. In February 2019, we were there doing research on cryptic species and coral resilience, and we started noticing that the corals started to look a bit pale than usual. And then by August, our very first dive was really stark to see the difference from what we saw in February. And what we saw was that a lot of the larger corals were dead. They were quite bleached.
When you think about the bleaching event versus what you see on TV, with these huge coral reefs, with all these colorful fish swimming around, all the colorful reef animals, including the coral themselves, to actually just see almost a flat, almost like a wasteland of just white, bone white coral. It was very interesting to see and wonder what it might have been like for the people who had been there 30 years ago. We made sure that whenever there's an opportunity to get out there on the boats, that we take it. After we got back from a day of diving, which could take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, we'd go back to the lab so we can process the samples as soon as possible.
We all dove every day. We collected the samples, and then we processed the samples in the lab, getting them sequenced and then analyzing the results to look for the patterns in the data. And we were just kind of like a little shocked that it was a single species that was hardest hit and not just the largest colonies of the coral genus.
The good news is that not every species of coral bleached. The bad news is that the species that did bleach happened to be endemic to Moorea and the surrounding islands as far as we can tell.
Because it shows that there is resilience within the coral community. Not all species die. Ecosystem services continue to carry on, but as predicted, as temperatures increase, we will begin to see more species experience stress more heavily.
The other concerning feature is that with increased climate change, these differences among species won't matter much, because every coral will experience increased stress.
For one Florida State University engineering professor, robots aren't just a tool for the future. They're a way to understand everything around us. Now, the FSU engineer will explore those possibilities with a new $750,000 grant from the Toyota Research Institute.
This project that Toyota Research Institute has partnered with me on is on teaching robots the concept of risk, okay? And I really think that risk is a fundamental unifying concept for anything we want to do in our lives.
Hugh Bickey has pushed the boundaries of artificial intelligence many times before at the FAMU FSU College of Engineering, and he's helped develop a fleet of bipedal robots, including the 4-foot-tall Tallahassee Cassie. Now, the challenge ahead is teaching these robots how to evaluate risks in their own environment and to respond to them like humans would.
Simply put, a risk is anything that would impede the robot from finishing its task. Anything at all. It falls on the ground, it can't get up. Guess what? It can't finish its task. If it runs out of battery, its battery goes dead, it can't finish the task. So it has to be efficient. If it breaks its leg, it's not going to finish the task. And how do we take all these very different looking sources of failures and put it into one equation for the robot to understand? And that's what this project is all about.
For some, a world with walking machines might feel dystopian, but Hubicki envisions a promising future for robotics.
We want the robot to be able to achieve the task we want it to achieve and be flexible in how it does it, but in a way that doesn't do things that we don't want it to do. It's a big problem, okay? And this project is all about putting together the algorithms and mathematics to enable robots to do that and really make our lives better.
When the COVID-19 pandemic shut down most in-person gatherings, Florida State University chemistry professor Ken Hansen had to figure out a way to continue his popular Ask a Scientist series. His lifelong love for gaming led him to create Ask a Scientist Gaming.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Ask a Scientist Gaming.
The idea is combining mediocre gameplay and professional science. That's a quote. This live Q&A style event is found online on the streaming site Twitch.
When COVID hit and we realized we couldn't do in-person Ask a Scientist, it basically sped up this transition where I was thinking, hey, we can reach a much broader audience. We can reach the general public across the world by moving the platform to Twitch. And we specifically kept the video gaming aspect of Twitch, or one of the main aspects of Twitch, because it does humanize the scientist, right? We're not just ivory tower lab coat wearing experts in our field. We're also people that do things like play video games and drink and hang out and just have fun conversations. And Twitch gave the perfect medium to translate that to.
To make the events possible, Hansen has transformed his home into a streaming studio, using the space to both stream gameplay and to teach remotely. One of the advantages of using Twitch is the ability to reach a larger and more diverse audience, allowing anyone from anywhere to listen in and interact.
It only requires you to create a username and an account on Twitch, which is free. And so there's absolutely, the only barrier towards this is having an internet connection, and that anyone can sign in and talk to the world's foremost expert in a particular scientific topic. And so it's not restricted by space or whether you can drive to a location. It's literally an internet connection, an account away from talking to an expert in all sorts of different domains of expertise.
The live streams are available for viewing on twitch.tv. You can also check out the previous live streams on YouTube. Well, coming up next on FSU Headlines, the COVID-19 shutdown forced staff at FSU to make some changes so students and staff could still get in a good workout. We'll have that story coming up. Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Mark Vaughn. After this past year's events demanded an emergency shutdown, fitness centers and gyms around the country were forced to adapt and enforce new safety precautions. These restrictions pushed staff of the Bobby E. Leach Student Recreation Center at FSU to put their creativity to the test in hopes of keeping their students' love of fitness alive. Danielle Kelly has that story.
It's been a year since the COVID-19 pandemic transformed the nation's sense of normalcy, and people are still learning to adapt to the changes in their daily lives. Making the accommodations needed to continue to thrive in the best and safest way possible requires creativity and ingenuity. And while fitness centers around the country had to completely shut their doors for months, for facilities like the Bobby E. Leach Student Recreation Center at FSU, their reopening demanded new protocols.
I knew that it was important to shut down until we knew the safety measures and the practices. Like, we couldn't open until we had that figured out.
The Leach Center was one of the many fitness facilities to experience this sudden change. Staff knew they had to cater to the students' fitness needs in the safest way possible while prioritizing the safeguarding of campus health.
We kind of just trained our staff exactly what to do, so checking those daily wellness checks, making sure they have a water bottle, enforcing the mask policy, doing the best we can to keep, the CDC guidelines in mind.
Along with the required daily wellness checks and enforcing the wearing of masks on the gym floor, Leach wanted to preserve students' passion for an active lifestyle. They offered a variety of outdoor workouts every weekday on the back deck of the facility and FSU's IM fields in the heart of College Town.
We want to keep everyone as safe as possible and keep things as normal as possible. We moved all of our classes that were previously indoor to outdoor spaces, whether that was the Leachback deck, the main campus fields, the Harkins fields, just so people could work out without a mask, socially distance, and be safe and feel comfortable.
And as Leach's motto stands as "find what moves you" for these lovers of fitness, the facility soon had to find what works during a global pandemic.
The F45 classes before, when they were in studio, utilized tons of equipment, and then outside we were able to do what they call F45 Live. So F45 actually provided us with workouts that were all body weight, so it was very easy to take those outside. All you needed was a towel or a mat and a water bottle. And for the spin, we were able to wheel the bikes out there, very limited equipment, and we would wipe down those before and after, of course. But everything else, we would modify the workout so there wasn't weights or resistance bands up until it was deemed safe enough to do that.
And even with the lack of equipment, these outdoor workouts have proven effective both in meeting exercise demands and in maintaining student participation, as classes continue to fill to capacity as a result of their new and unique presentations.
Now, all of our classes are limited between 10 to 12 people. I wish we could have more spots because there's definitely the demand for that, but it's just, keeping everyone safe in the smaller class sizes.
I didn't even know what to do when they told us that we couldn't come work out anymore. People depend on that because it's really expensive to have a gym membership in college. So especially having these outdoor workouts, it's really nice. I usually just come here because it's I'm able to not wear a mask, and obviously you're social distancing, so it's fine. And I like coming outside because it's just good to get fresh air.
Most of our formats are popular. It's what the participants loved before COVID, and just having that consistency and that sense of normalcy is really good. So all of our classes do really well.
While COVID-19 has hindered daily routines, the pandemic has also created an opening for Leach Recreation to persist in the safest and most creative ways possible, allowing students to maintain an active lifestyle by finding what works. I'm Danielle Kelly, reporting.
Although it's uncertain whether gym restrictions will be lifted completely by this fall, Director of Group Fitness Cassidy Haglund announced that they'll keep the theme of outdoor workout classes as they've become a popular choice for students looking for unique ways to stay active. The rise in popularity of podcasts is a trend that's hit Florida State University, especially as the campus community looks for ways to stay connected during the COVID-19 pandemic. One podcast from the Center of Global Engagement at FSU is focusing on the importance of diversity and inclusion. Alex DeCapua has the story.
Diversity Talks is a collection of conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion that impact our campus, our communities, and beyond.
In recent years, diversity and inclusion awareness has greatly improved on college campuses throughout the nation. Dr. Elchin Haskalar and Dr. Tanu Kohli have taken a step even further with the launch of the Diversity Talks podcast.
The Diversity Talks podcast is a part of an FSU initiative to celebrate the kind of diversity that we have on our campus.
Many people think that diversity is a very narrowly defined word. It's actually a very, very broad umbrella term, and we wanted to capture the breadth of it.
Our intention is really to generate a dialogue about how we can create the most inclusive spaces so that everybody can feel safe and welcome regardless of where they come from and how they identify.
This dynamic duo has done far more than co-produce Diversity Talks. Since coming to Florida State in the last 5 years, they've been the main contributors to the growth and development of the Global Citizenship Certificate.
The purpose is to help undergraduate students gain really essential cross-cultural skills.
It is actually a really great program, especially with what's happening in the United States right now.
There's certain conversations and perspectives and cultures that I personally cannot fathom. And I just found with the GCC, this is my ticket because once again, I do have such a passion towards international affairs and international relations.
With their impressive work in the field already, creating a podcast was the ideal next step.
Recording day, I'm here at the WFSU studios getting ready to talk to Dr. Petra Doan, Professor of Urban and Regional Planning, and I'll give you guys a little tour.
The idea was to show the resources and the great people we already have in the community who are doing brilliant things.
One of the greater things about the podcast is that we want the listeners to use it as an educational tool.
When students hear this, and now students are hearing this, they're asking, who are these professors? Who are these doctors? Where are they? Why haven't I heard from them? And I need to hear more.
Well versed in the topic at hand, Dr. Haskalar and Dr. Coley understood and continue to emphasize the importance of drawing from a multitude of perspectives for this podcast.
These are real issues and they affect real people and real lives, and I think that's the power of these stories.
To highlight these people's stories, their struggles, and how they used it, how they weaponized it almost to have more equity, diversity, and inclusion.
As I needed to be my true self, this self that I had known, the truth that I had known about myself since I was 4 years old.
Leading with passion, intent, and a new platform to share it, the work of these two women will undoubtedly alter perspectives at the FSU campus and beyond.
I believe from this podcast that minds will shift. An attempt of trying to solve a problem is beyond a team effort, it's a cultural effort. Cultural narratives have to change.
Our strength as a school could be really powerful if we diligently set about it and didn't give up just when things got uncomfortable.
I'm Alex DeCapua reporting.
You can find a full list of Florida State University podcasts at news.fsu.edu. That's going to do it for this April edition of FSU Headlines, but remember, you can always keep up with Florida State University news on news.fsu.edu. For everyone here at Florida State University, I'm Mark Vaughn. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, God bless and go Noles.